The head of youth development did suggest that it might be a golden generation of players for the club, and I think he was right because this looks very exciting.
Sometimes you're a fire, sometimes you're a ghost, sometimes you can give me all the things that I love the most. Sometimes you're a queen, sometimes you're a curse, and sometimes a whole lot worse. Yeah, nobody's quite like you.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 12 of Blue Hell Worldwide here on Shaun Does FM, and today we are going to have a look at our youth intake, which you can already see behind me on screen. Very promising indeed, and as well as that we will probably play only the one game later on in the episode because it might take us a while to get through this very good youth intake indeed. So if you're looking forward to the episode, then remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already or are new around here, also consider hitting that subscribe button, turning that notification bell on, all that good stuff. And if you did miss yesterday's episode where we played a few MLS games, I'll leave a link to that in the top right corner above my head. But we expected this youth intake to potentially come through during yesterday's episode. It took a little bit longer than we would have liked, but it has finally come to us on the 20th of March. If you remember a couple of episodes ago, we did have the youth intake preview. The head of youth development did suggest that it might be a golden generation of players for the club, and I think he was right because this looks very exciting indeed, with 8 5-star potential players, 1 4.5-star, 2 4-star, and 1 3-star. So we're probably going to be signing up most of these players, and it bodes very well for the future of the club. So we're going to start the episode off by running through these players who we're probably going to sign. We might sign a few more depending on how they play in the trial match that they play against the under-18s, but I'll definitely be signing up these ones who are over the 3-star potential. And as you can see, it's all the players here on this top part of the screen. So first off, the pick of them from our head of youth development, Craig Jones, a right winger who already has some pretty good passing technique stats in the technicals. He's got a very good determination of 16. Some of his other mentals are quite good, and his physicals already for a 15-year-old pretty good. Very strong on his left foot, so should suit that inverted winger role that we do use here at the club, and he could become a very good option for us once the likes of Johnny Russell and that start to go down a little bit more. Could be a player who comes through sooner rather than later, despite that age that he does have of 15 years old. Very promising, very excited about him. Second up, we have a striker, Anthony Reyes. You can see he's got 15 finishing already, which actually is a bit better than most of the players we've got at the club already, so that bodes really well for him. 14 decision making, another player in the green with determination as well as aggression, so it could be a little bit of a Luis Suarez, that one, but he already looks like a pretty good striker. 1.5-star current, 5-star potential. Really happy with him. He's decent on both feet. Left foot not as good as his right foot, but we could potentially train it up at 15 years old. Another guy who could be very exciting for this team that we've got here at Sporting Kansas City for the next couple of years anyway. The next of our 5-star potential players is, in my opinion, the most exciting one that we do have in this youth intake at 1.97 meters. So he is a tall lad, Diego Coronado, 10 heading, 14 jumping reach. We can train that already, but I love that jumping reach and height for a centre-back. He can play a little bit further forward, but just with that height, it would be a waste if he wasn't going to be a centre-back. Good on both feet, driven personality, 19 determination, 18 bravery. Really like the look of this guy at 15 years old. I think he is the pick of them. Could be an absolute stud at centre-back for us once the likes of Punchek and Fontas start to go down in a couple of years, as they are likely to. This guy will no doubt be barging the door down by then to get some first team football. Really excited by this guy. I think he's the pick of this youth intake, Diego Coronado. Remember the name, hopefully. Next up, we have got another winger, so we've definitely got some good options on the wing here at Sporting Kansas City now. Emmanuel Thompson. You can see some decent technicals already, very good flair, 13 determinations, not in the green for that, but still pretty decent. Looks quite well rounded in most of the stats that we need him to be already. His physical's not quite as good as the rest of his game yet, but only being 15 years old, no doubt that is going to improve over the next few years. Good on both feet, does have the mercenary personality, so that could be interesting to deal with, but certainly looks like he has a fair bit of talent and potential, does Emmanuel Thompson. And off the back of that, we have yet another winger, this time more of a left winger than a right winger, in Steven Castillo. You can see he's got 11 first touch, 11 passing. The main thing he's got there on his technical stats, very good long shots, already quite decent at free kicks. His mentals look a little bit better off and his physicals are okay, but at 15 years old, another player who can definitely grow and become a very good player for us with that 5-star potential. Not very good on his right foot, but his left foot is very strong, should end up being a very dangerous crosser of the ball from that left wing for us. Fairly ambitious personality, which bodes well, and another very good player we could have on our hands here, Steven Castillo. And we've got yet another winger off the back of that, definitely overloaded in the wing spot. As I said, Chris Fearbald, 1.5-star current ability, 5-star potential, strong right foot, weak left foot, resilient personality, described as a young striker, is finishing not as good as I would hope it to be. We're at 15 years old, that could grow, so we could also chuck him up front. He's quite a decent size lad too at 1.83 metres, so maybe striker is going to end up being his preferred position. He's got 15 determination, that's the standout stat, 14 aggression, 13 dribbling already, and some decent physicals. Another potentially good future option for us on the wing. Maybe up front there is Chris Fearbald. Next of our 5-star potential players in this youth intake, Dean Sashdev, an American 15-year-old. I'll just check if he's got any other nationalities there. He hasn't. He has got that 20 determination, so should definitely reach that 5-star potential. Good aggression, makes good decisions, looks like a good future centre-back or right-back option for us. He is 1.87 metres tall, so that does look quite suited to being a centre-back. His heading and jumping reach nowhere near the levels of Coronado, who we had earlier in this youth intake, my pick of them, but still looks like he could be a very good option. At the back, we'll just have to try and figure out which position out of centre-back or right-back he suits more. Just with that height, I do suspect he might be a better centre-back than a wing-back for us, but another potentially very good player at the back for us there in Dean Sashdev. And the last of our 5-star potential players in this youth intake is, in fact, a goalkeeper. So that's a very nice way to cap it off. We've pretty well covered in most areas of the pitch except for the midfield, but this guy has already got some quite decent goalkeeping stats for a 15-year-old. 1.5-star current ability, 5-star potential, fickle personality, so that could be improved upon. Has the least determination out of this main crop that we have here with this 5-star potential, but could become a very good goalkeeper for us here. Could Jorge Lazard, very strong right foot, weak left foot, but hopefully being a goalkeeper, that won't hurt us too much in the future, but another player who has the real potential to become a good player for us here at SKC, Jorge Lazard. And now we come to the rest of our youth intake. This guy is another really exciting prospect. To be fair though, is a midfielder, so that covers one of the areas where we were weak from those 5-star potential players coming through this youth intake anyway, and that is Mike Arana. 16 determination. He's got some other quite good mental stats already, decision-making, leadership, positioning. Not so well off in the technicals apart from technique and marking, but physicals not too bad. He has a realist personality, very good right foot, decent enough left foot, likes to curl the ball, could be a good midfield option for us in the future as well, could Mike Arana. Next in this youth intake is Manuel Hernandez, listed as a right midfielder, but he's probably going to end up being a wing back when we sign him. You can see his crossing and dribbling decent enough. His marking needs to improve, but I think he's something that we can work with in that right back slot at 15 years old. 4-star potentials, like his physicals, he can definitely go getting up the right flank for us, and that could be quite good. It does have an unambitious personality, which is a little bit surprising with that 15 determination, but on his physical stats already does look quite a promising player who could do bits for us in that right wing back role that we do use here at SKC. Manuel Hernandez, if we can get his mentals up a little bit more, and more importantly his technicals, could end up being a good fullback for us in the future. The other 4-star potential player we have in this youth intake is Mark Rogers, a little bit older than the rest at 16 years old. 1.83 metres, is a bit more comfortable as a centre back than a left back, but we'll see what suits him better. He's not overly good physically pace wise, so he might end up being a centre back just because of that. His heading isn't great yet. His jumping reach is okay though. Not too sure where he's going to fit in, but his teamwork's really good, and that's a nice stat to have already. Very good tackler, so probably leaning towards centre back with him. Has a good work rate, so that could also lean towards left back. So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do with this guy position wise, but at 4-star potential, got a few good stats in there, well balanced. As I said, decent jumping reach. We can just work on a few more of the technicals and a few of those mentals as well. He could end up being a decent defensive option for us, could Mark Rogers. And then the last of the players who we are definitely going to sign from this youth intake with that 3-star potential, not quite as exciting as our previous ones, but he does fill one of those midfield slots that we do seem to be a little bit light on from the youth intake so far, and that is Chris Booth. Okay stats all round. His bravery is quite good at 15. He has a little bit to work with though based on that potential. So we'll sign him up and see what he can do. Maybe offload him for a profit if worse comes to worse. Very good right foot, weak left foot, mercenary personality. So that doesn't bode as well as we would hope, but could still be a useful player for us for a little while anyway. Could Chris Booth. And a quick look at the other players who came through this youth intake. Not too sure if we're going to sign some of these guys. As I said, it will depend how well they play in the youth intake trial game against the under 18s. But first up, Juan de Dios Hernandez. Great name. He's probably going to end up being trained up more as a striker for us should he be signed. Another player who's got a few good stats there. Aggression, determination, most notably, and natural fitness. Could be something to work with at 16 years old, but we'll see how he gets on in that youth intake game. Another player with 2.5-star potential, Louis Philippe Flores, who could end up becoming an okay left wing prospect for us. Light-hearted personality, has a very strong left foot, so could put some good balls in from that left-hand side. Or he has some pretty good physical attributes. Okay mentals as well. The technicals need to be worked on, but one player who will see what he does in the trial game as well. Darren Rushton is one of the guys who is less likely to be signed with 2-star potential, especially being in a position where we are quite deep in this youth intake on the right wing. Balanced personality, which isn't terrible, is quite good on both feet as well, so that does bode well for him, but that potential not so much. So he came through, but not sure if we're going to sign that guy unless there's a blinder in the trial game. And the last player who's come through this youth intake is a left back called Jose Abraham Rivas, a Mexican. So the only foreign player that we do have through this youth intake. Natural fitness is really good, so it could actually be a little bit better than we suspect, but very strong left foot, weak right foot, is unambitious. Apart from the jumping reach and natural fitness, there's not a lot going for him, so would have to have a very good game in the trial game for us to be having a look at him. But that is a roundup of our youth intake in this first season here at Sporting Kansas City. It is very exciting based on the bulk of what we saw, a lot of 5-star potential players. My personal pick of them, as I said, Diego Coronado, 1.97 meters tall, good determination, bravery, jumping reach, decent hitting already. Really like the look of him for a future star here at Sporting Kansas City. But on the whole, very happy with how this youth intake looks, and could be some players who we get quite familiar with over the next couple of years here at the club. So that rounds that off. What we'll do is come back shortly and run you guys through the highlights before the one game in today's episode, which I believe is probably going to end up being against the Seattle Sounders. So we've got 4 highlighted games to show you guys since the end of yesterday's episode. First off, when we did in yesterday's episode, when we were trying to still see if the youth intake would take place yesterday or today, we got up to the Orlando City game, and a really good performance from us here at home to try and stay at the top of the table and potentially put a little bit of a gap on FC Dallas, who at that stage were tied with us. We got off to an absolute flyer in this game. Louis Martin in the second minute with a corner goes straight through the Orlando defence there to make it 1-0. And then at the 24-minute mark, Daniel Shallow gets the ball down the left-hand side, somehow gets past his man there. Espinoza with a shot, and Kerry Shelton with a sliding finish there to pinch it off Espinoza and make it 2-0. And then about 10 minutes later, a ball out to Shallow. The goalkeeper comes out for it there, and he just has a crack from a tight angle. A quite good finish, albeit not exactly sure what the Orlando goalkeeper was doing at that point. And then only a few minutes later, some real sloppy defence here from Orlando. Pulido with the finish. Very good stuff, and we were 4-0 up before halftime. And right on the brink of halftime, we were on the ball, just got it outside the box. Pulido to Remy Walter. Nice ball for Daniel Shallow, and it was 5-0 going into halftime against Orlando City. They did get a goal back to start the second half off after 20 minutes of it. Early over the top for Nani. Just the tight angle gets beyond Melia and goal to make it 5-1, but we restored the 5-goal advantage not too long off the back of that with 5 minutes to go in the game. Espinoza, after a bit of a deflection, a bit of bad luck there for Orlando City, tucking that away into the right-hand side of goal, and we pick up a very comfortable and emphatic 6-1 win. You look at the stats, it wasn't our most dominant performance. We've definitely had games where we've had more shots, more XG than that, but very, very clinical with our chances. So great performance from us there. And off the back of that, we had a trip away to Club Nakaksa, and yet again we got off to a flying start here inside the first minute. Gutty kinda picks out a ball towards the far post. Johnny F. and Russell with a nice header. A little bit of help from the underside of the crossbar, but we went 1-0 up early. And then 20 minutes later, Gutty kinda just making his way infield from inside the box. Johnny Russell, nice pass there to Polito, who tucks that away in the bottom right corner to make it 2-0. And only a few minutes later, it was 3-0 and looking very similar to that previous game against Orlando. Some good short passing from us there. Polito in the end setting up Gutty kinda to make it 3-0. They did pull a goal back not too long after that, though, here did Club Necaxa. Just before the half-hour mark, Guzman with a ball in, Salas with the nice header, just going through a hand of Melia to make it 3-1. But before halftime, we got our free goal advantage back, knocking the ball around quite nicely outside the box, and Johnny F. and Russell lashes one into the bottom left corner to make it 4-1. But that wasn't it before halftime, as Club Necaxa did get another goal back here. Alisson Santos with an interesting shot come cross pass there. Salas tucking that away in the bottom left corner, and it was 4-2, but that wasn't even it yet before halftime, as Johnny F. and Russell completed his hat-trick off a Louis Martins cross. Quite happy about that too, was Johnny F. and Russell. 5-2 at halftime. They did sneak one back in the second half to make it 5-3. A bit of messy play from us at the back there. The goal going to Aguirre, but another pretty good performance from us there to pick up 5 goals and win it 5-3. Got a little bit sloppy at the back there at times, but when you score 5 goals, it's hard not to be happy with the performance. Actually, a more dominant one stat-wise, albeit Club Necaxa did fire a bit at us as well, but another very good performance there. And we had another away trip to Mexico off the back of that, taking on Deportivo Toluca. This one was a much more quiet game. The only goal coming in the 17th minute. Remy Walter to Busio outside the box. Hernandez back to Busio, finds Louis Martin enough space to lash that into the top left corner, and that was the goal that earned us 3 points against Toluca. It was a game that was pretty even. We just did enough with our chances to get that goal from our left back, who is still having a very good season there, is Louis Martins. And then we went back home to make up for a game that got postponed due to a waterlogged pitch against Pumas. Another game which we got off to a really good start in the 5th minute. Zusi with a free kick finds Shallowy at the far post, and we go 1-0 up nice and early. And 10 minutes before halftime, we made it 2-0. Johnny F. and Russell, Remy Walter, Illy, ball for Russell, who beats the goalkeeper at the near post again, and we are 2-0 up at halftime. They did get a goal back 10 minutes gone in the second half. It was a corner that Mola got his head on the end of, and it was a nervy ending for us as well, because in the 58th minute, Graham Zusi with one of those horrible 2-footed tackles got a straight red card, but luckily for us, we did hold on to a 2-1 win, so that was a little bit of a let-off for us with that red card in the second half to Zusi. That does mean he is going to be suspended for this game in today's episode, but we got the 3 points. It was a game that we were very good in the first half, not very good in the second half, but just did enough to hold on and keep that good run of form going in the league. So we come into this in really nice touch, as you can see by the schedule there. And what it means for the points table is that with 6 games to go in the league season for us, 5 games to go for most of the other teams around us, we are 6 points clear of FC Dallas, who have put a good little margin on those guys after catching up some of those games in hand that we did have, and we are 11 points clear of Atlanta United. We should be getting promoted, and if we can beat Seattle today, we potentially could clinch promotion to Super League 1 if Atlanta cannot get the job done against Club Necaxa. If they fail to win that game and we win our game, we will be guaranteed promotion. So there is the chance for us to gain promotion in this only game of today's episode. As I said, Zusi is going to be suspended for it because of that horrible tackle that earned him a red card in that game against Pumas. But we'll bring you guys the full team sheets when we come back to you from Children's Mercy Park for a game against Seattle Sounders. Last time we took these guys on from memory, it was quite an entertaining affair. Hopefully we get the same in the only game of today's episode as we take on Seattle at Children's Mercy Park first 6th, and see if other results go our way, if we can earn promotion to Super League 1. And here are the team sheets for this game against Seattle. They are on the right, looking fairly similar to when we saw them earlier in the season. I see they've got Billy Gilmore on the bench there, which is interesting. And Raul Rui Diaz is a good striker they have, as well as Jafat Tanganga on loan from Tottenham. So they've got a few Premier League quality talents there on loan. So they are going to be tough opposition for us. In terms of us, We also have Jalen Lindsay a little bit injured for this game, as well as Angelou Fontas. So a few changes at the back here for us today. Young, healthy Sigurdsson gets his first start for SKC. We've got Isamat Miran coming in for Fontas. Espinosa coming in for a slightly tired come injury susceptible Gianluca Busio as well. Otherwise, in the other positions, we are at full strength. So a couple of changes to what we would ideally have for this game, but hopefully these guys can still get us a good result and potentially earn us promotion to Super League 1. 16 minutes gone, we have the first highlight of this game. We're on the light blue hoops as I'm wearing Seattle in the light green with the dark blue shorts, and we are in possession after they do clear that thrown away. Walter Sigurdsson trying to pick out Johnny F. Russell, a little bit of a potentially iffy back pass there to the Seattle goalkeeper, but we are back in possession and Shallowy in a good position down this left-hand side. Martins will pick out Johnny F. Russell at the far post, but his header goes over the bar and it does remain 0-0 after 20 minutes. 23 minutes gone here. We have another throw-in, but this time it's in our own half of the field, but we look to drive forward here through Daniel Shallowy, making his way in the middle of the field and now making his way into the final third over to Johnny F. Russell, who comes into this in a nice patch of form, trying to curve that into the top right corner, but forces a good save there out of Fry, and it will remain 0-0 for now, but we will have this corner. Louis Martins puts it in, but Tanganga, the Tottenham defender, heads it away. Nice ball back up there for Louis Martins, and they stop the highlight there, which is interesting. Still 0-0 as we approach the half-hour mark, but it's another throw-in for us in a bad area of the pitch, albeit as we approach the half-hour mark. Sigurdsson making his way down the right-hand side. Nice run from him, and we are now in the opposition half. Remy Walter up to Sigurdsson. What can the young Icelandic man do? Johnny F. Russell tries to pick out Polido. They just cut the cross out there to Seattle, and it still remains 0-0. And we've got a highlight to them shortly off the back of it as they have a throw and look to get something going in this game as they've withstood our pressure in the opening half hour so far. Rui Diaz, a very good player in the Seattle team. Ball over the top there for Traore. Good chance for them. And Lacina Traore will get a goal thanks to the assist from Hanno Balans. And we are 1-0 down at the half hour mark. And that does feel a little bit harsh. We've had most of the play in this game so far, but Seattle with their first real dangerous highlight. It's a nice ball over the top there from Balans. Our defence just caught out there, and Traore puts it away, and we are 1-0 down at the half hour mark. 36 minutes gone, and Seattle look to make it a double in this game as they have a free kick just inside their own half, knocking it about short at the moment, looking to play a ball over the top. Traore flicks down for Rowe, tries to chip Melia, but he doesn't quite pull it off, and it remains 1-0 for now. 43 minutes gone, and we have a goal kick to start this highlight. Feels like a little bit of a harsh scoreline so far, but to be fair, we didn't have overly threatening chances in that first half hour, and Seattle have looked quite good in the closing quarter of an hour of this first half so far, but we get the ball out to Daniel Shallowy. O'Neill tries to take the ball off him with that tackle, misses out on things. Walter gets the ball outside the box. Louis Martin thunders that with his left peg into the top right corner, and we are back on level terms, and it does feel somewhat deserved. We've made most of the play in this first half, and we now have something to show for it as we make it 1-1 just before halftime. Johnny F. Russell hitting that down to Walter, picks out Louis Martin, who's just been sagged off enough from the defence there to lash that into the top right corner. Really good finish again from our left back, and it looks like we'll be going into halftime at 1-1, and indeed that is the case. We've played pretty well in this game, as the stats would suggest, just a little bit sloppy, letting Seattle get a few chances around the 30 to 40 minute mark, but we did strike back just before halftime. So if we can keep playing the way we did for most of that first half, we should be okay to try and get a winning goal in the second half. 49 minutes gone. The first highlight of the second half is a corner to Seattle, and it could be a penalty here, as it looks like a potential handball from Isamat. They're going to check this through VAR, and indeed it is a penalty. That's a really frustrating start to the second half. Isamat will pick up a yellow card, and they have a chance here to get back in front. Do Seattle from the penalty spot through Rui Diaz. Melia guesses the right way, but he is a quality striker. Is Raul Rui Diaz's 23rd goal of the season, and that's a soft way to let Seattle back in front. Well taken penalty. Possibly could have put that further towards the left-hand corner, but Melia couldn't quite get there, and it's 2-1 as we just start the second half. 62 minutes gone, and we do have a throw in here. We have taken Daniel Shallowy off the gutty kinda, as he was on a red heart, but hopefully that change will let us get back into this game, as it feels like we deserve more than a loss out of it so far. That's a lovely ball there, though, from Remy Walter for Johnny F. and Russell, and he keeps up his good goal scoring form, and that's exactly what we were after. With just under a half hour to go in this game, we get it back to a draw at 2-2. Sigurdsson picks out Walter. It's a really well-timed run there from Johnny F. and Russell. No one really picking him up. Puts that away at the near post, and we're back in this. Still could have a chance of promotion today, as it's 2-2 with a half hour to go. 82 minutes gone. It is about to be a free kick here to Seattle as they look to get a late goal. We've made 2 changes since that second goal that we scored. Russell and Martin both a little bit tired, so Shelton and Maxi Oliveira have come on for those 2 respectively. So we have used up our free substitutions, and it is a poor free kick there from Seattle as they give possession back to us. Espinoza trying to find Kinder. It's a poor ball, and Seattle will look to get on the counter, although their clearance is poor as well, and Isamat pumps that deep. We lose possession again, though. It's a bit helter-skelter at the moment. Neither team holding onto the ball all that well, but we eventually get the ball out to Oliveira down the left and look to pinch a 3-2 win in this game. Espinoza kind of down to Walter. His first shot's blocked. Sigurdsson now outside the box trying to find the top right corner, and he just puts it wide, and it does still remain 2-2 late in this game. Into the last few minutes of this game, Atlanta United were winning their game 1-0, so we're not going to be able to earn promotion in today's episode unless there's a late goal in that game, as we are held to a 2-2 draw. You look at the stats, we were twice as good as Seattle based on what you saw, but to be fair, they were a lot more efficient with their chances than we were today, and we just were a little bit sloppy at the back compared to what we usually are. Some not good ratings back there, but that is somewhat expected as we did make some changes there due to injuries and suspensions. Melia not having a great game as well, which doesn't help. So our defence, for one of the few times this season, letting us down there, I think it is fair to say, but it is not all bad. We're still in a pretty good position to get promoted, not dropping too many points on Atlanta United, as we still do have that game in hand over them. But we'll come back shortly and we'll run you guys through where we stand in the table and what will be coming up in tomorrow's episode. So another entertaining game there against Seattle, ending in a 2-2 draw, which means we haven't quite earned promotion yet, but we have got up to the promotion race inbox item, and this outlines things very nicely for the remainder of the season for us. We have that extra game in hand on both Dallas and Atlanta United. We're 9 points clear of them with 5 games to play. They have 4 games to play, so they do have some catching up to do. They will need us to drop points, significant points as well, if we're to avoid promotion. So I think going into tomorrow's episode, we might have already secured promotion by the time we do start that, and we'll come back potentially when we could win the title. If you look at our runs home for each of the 3 teams involved, we have a very kind run home, it has to be said, taking on a lot of teams in the bottom half of the table. It is quite similar for FC Dallas, Club Necaxa aside, and Atlanta United, to be fair to them, also have quite a nice run home as well. So not too difficult to run home for the 3 teams who are in this promotion hunt, but with the way things look, I back us to be winning the title and Dallas to be coming second. Atlanta United have a fair bit of work to do and need results to go their way if they are to overcome Dallas. The one hope that they would have is that Club Necaxa could potentially take points off them, and that might open things up a little bit with only a 3-point difference between those 2 teams. But when we come back, it might be at the start of May. We probably secure promotion in a few games I play off camera, all things going well, and when we come back, we'll see if we can secure the title and go up to Super League 1 in style. And what we'll do the day after that, I think, is we might go through all the leagues in this World Super League save and see who's going up and who's going down, as we haven't really had a chance to do that so far this season. And with all the leagues in this World Super League save, that could take a little bit of time to run through, so we might have to save that in the end of season review for a separate episode in itself. But if you did enjoy today's episode, we had potentially, it could be a very, very good youth intake, and we got a draw against Seattle, which more or less puts us on the verge of promotion to Super League 1 next season. Then remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and enjoy what you see here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, and until tomorrow, hopefully we can clinch the MLS League title here in Super League 2. Then thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Sometimes you can